You must stop these email marketing mistakes. Episode 6. Welcome to the Passive Wealth Flow Systems, the channel where we document our journey from financial zero to financial freedom hero. Mistake number 5 of email marketing: the squeeze page is not split tested. Before we go any further, let's clarify some basics. What is a split test? So basically, a split test is comparing two things to see which thing is better than the other thing. As an example, I have a highlighter here, which is orange, and I have a highlighter here, which is pink, and I'm just basically comparing the highlighters to see which one is better. And whichever one I feel like choosing, I'll choose it. That's all it is. I'm split testing them. What is a squeeze page? A squeeze page is basically just a one-page website, and it has one function, which is gather information. And there's two metrics to monitor on your squeeze page. Metric 1, opt-in rate, and metric 2, costs per lead. And once you have those metrics for the one squeeze page, you then gather the metrics for the opt-in rate and cost per lead for the second squeeze page. And you measure the two squeeze pages against each other to find out which one is better than the other. And whichever's better is the one you use. That's called split testing the squeeze pages. So before we show you how the opt-in rate affects the cost per lead, we need to clarify the fundamentals, which is those two metrics being opt-in rate and cost per lead. So let's clarify the first metric, which is the opt-in rate. The opt-in rate is the percentage of people who visit your squeeze page and then decide to give their information on the squeeze page. Okay, so if we look at this, let's explain the opt-in rate. The function of that squeeze page is to gather the information. So the information they could be gathering is just something really simple like a name and an email address. So you get a huge amount of visitors coming into your squeeze page. Of all those visitors, some of them will give their details. So let's say they're going to give their name and email address. They give their details, and once they give their details and submit those details, they then become an opt-in. So essentially, it's the total number of people that come in to look at your page. A certain amount of those people will give the information on your squeeze page and submit it. And when you look at how many people gave their information compared to how many people visited, gives you an opt-in rate. And the opt-in rate is measured as a percentage. So let's use some numbers to easily explain the opt-in rate. Because it's not that hard, it's pretty easy, but let's use some numbers to explain it even further for you. So you have 1,000 visitors that visit your squeeze page. And out of those 1,000 visitors, 770 of them chose to opt in. In other words, they filled out the details on the squeeze page and they submitted it. So the opt-in rate, because 770 of those people out of 1,000 decided to opt in, your opt-in rate is 77%. Let's use another example. You had 1,000 visitors go to your squeeze page. 20 of them chose to opt in and submit their details. As an opt-in rate, because only 20 visitors opted in to your squeeze page out of 1,000, the opt-in rate is 2%. Let's have a final example. If you have 200 visitors and 50 of them chose to opt in, your opt-in rate is going to be 25%. 200 people saw your squeeze page, 50 of them decided to sign up with your squeeze page, and that number, the opt-in rate for 50 out of 200 is 25%. So the amount of people who opted in, being the 770, the 20, and the 50, they're called your leads, L-E-A-D-S. Lead, which leads us onto our second metric, being cost per lead, sometimes known as CPL for cost per lead. What is cost per lead, or CPL? In its simplest form, it's how much did each lead cost you. It's the money you spent on visitors to your squeeze page divided by the total number of opt-ins equals cost per lead. Let's clarify that. You would have spent a certain amount of money to get a number of visitors, and out of those visitors, a certain number of those visitors would have opted in via your squeeze page or given their details. So for each one of those visitors that gave their details via the squeeze page, each one of them is referred to as a lead. You'll know how much you paid for each lead, hence why it's called cost per lead. Before we go any further, let's clarify the not so obvious, which is this. Cost per lead only comes into effect when you pay for traffic. So in real simple terms, for you to measure cost per lead, you have to pay for traffic. For free traffic, you can have opt-in rates, but you cannot have cost per leads because it's free. When it's free traffic, there's nothing to show on there. So in fact, if you want to try and figure out what the percentage is for free traffic, you might as well just say it's infinite. So using these leads as an example, If you didn't pay for these opt-ins, being the 770, the 20, and the 50, those are the leads that came in through your squeeze page. And these opt-ins came from free traffic, being sources such as YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, or any other platform. Then cost per lead is irrelevant because there is no cost. No money was paid. But be aware, free traffic is slow traffic. Keep that in mind. Free traffic is slow traffic. Paid traffic is fast traffic. So when you pay for traffic, cost per lead automatically comes into play, which means once you pay a lump sum of money for the traffic and a number of people sign up from your squeeze page as a new lead, you want to know how much you paid for each person's details. And that's called cost per lead. So if we look at the previous examples to clarify the cost per lead, so looking at the first example, you paid $1,000 for 1,000 visitors. You obtained 770 opt-ins or 770 leads from those 1,000 visitors. So it's $1,000 spent to get 770 opt-ins, where the opt-in rate is 77%. So your cost per lead for those 770 opt-ins is $1.30 per lead. So for each of those 770 leads that you got from the $1,000 that you spent, it costs you $1.30 per lead. Let's check the second example. So you paid $1,000 for 1,000 visitors, and from those 1,000 visitors, you ended up getting 20 who opted in. What it looks like is that you spent $1,000 to get 20 opt-ins, which gives you an opt-in rate of 2%. So your cost per lead is $50 per lead. If we look at a final example, you paid $150 for 200 visitors. And out of those 200 visitors, 50 of them chose to opt in, which means you paid $150 to get 50 opt-ins, or 50 leads, if you will, which gives you an opt-in rate of 25%. So your cost per lead would be $3 per lead. So in the first example was $1.30 per lead. On the second example was $50 per lead. And on this example, it's $3 per lead. And once again, how did we figure that out? With the mathematical example, cost per lead is the total amount of money divided by the total leads. So here's your money. You spent $150 and your total amount of leads is 50. 150 divided by 50 equals $3 per lead. If we go back to the second example, with the equation being total amount of money divided by the total amount of opt-ins, or total amount of money divided by the total amount of leads that were gained, you paid $1,000 to get 20 leads. So 1,000 divided by 20 equals $50 per lead. And then if we're looking at the final example, you paid $1,000, you got 770 leads. 1,000 divided by 770 gives you $1.30 per lead. So that's how opt-in rate impacts your cost per lead. It clearly shows that the higher the opt-in rate for your squeeze page, the lower the cost per lead. High opt-in rate, low cost per lead. And that is why we must test the squeeze pages. So basically what you do, you get the opt-in rates and the cost per leads for multiple squeeze pages, and you measure them up against each other, which is what they call split testing. And when you find the best page or pages or combination of those pages that gives you the best numbers, being the best opt-in rates and the best cost per leads, then you run it hard, you run it fast, and in Aotearoa we say you run it straight, and you build that list quickly and start making the profits. Now, further to that, with regards to squeeze pages, a common question that tends to be asked is, should the squeeze page be lengthy or should it be short and simple? Well, here's the short, sharp, easy to follow formulaic answer. Low ticket offer, use a simple and short squeeze page. High ticket offers, use longer squeeze pages. And the main reason to use longer squeeze pages for the higher ticket offers, more information is required for the higher price product or services. So to use an analogy for a low ticket offer, simple squeeze page, or a high ticket offer, if you go to a shop to buy a lollipop, there's not much thinking you got to do there. It's just a quick decision. Yes or no, do you want the lollipop? You don't need a big, huge squeeze page for that, if you will. But if you're buying a bigger item, such as a house, then you need more time to make up your mind if you want to buy that house or not, because it's a higher priced item. And you definitely need more information as to whether you want to buy that house or not. Especially when you live in Auckland, Aotearoa, New Zealand, where the house prices are like in the multiple millions of dollars. You need a lot of information before you're going to start buying that stuff. So to summarize episode 6, your squeeze pages must be tested. Your opt-in rates and cost per leads must be measured. Low ticket offers must have a simple squeeze page, and high ticket offers must have a longer squeeze page. So for more information on building your affiliate marketing business using email marketing and the tools we're using to create their business, click the links below for all the information that's required. And stay tuned for the next episode. Remember, like, share, and subscribe. Tap that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and click on the notification bell so you never miss an update. Click on the links in the description below. Now let's take this journey together so you can create your own passive wealth flow system.